All right, welcome to lesson 3.4. Your objectives today are can you construct a perpendicular bisector, an angle bisector, parallel lines, and an equilateral triangle, which you'll find is also going to be the same as a 60-degree angle. So let's get started with our first construction. It's bisecting a line segment, and notice that it says we are constructing a midpoint. So we don't want to actually draw a line for this, we just want to plot the midpoint. Bear with me on these tools, I'm learning how to use them with this. All right, so what I want to do first is I want to put my compass on endpoint A, and I want to extend it to over half the line. Okay, and now I'm going to make an arc above. Move that. Can't see my rotation. I'm going to make an arc from point A above my line, and I'm also going to make that same arc below my line. Now I'm going to switch my compass to endpoint B, and I'm going to make the same exact arc above and the same exact arc below. So what these arcs have found is our midpoint because it's the same distance from A above and below as it is from B above and below. So what I'm going to do is take my straight edge and I look for the intersection of the two arcs and line it up with my straight edge. And instead of drawing the segment there, I'm just going to make a midpoint. So I'm going to take my marker and make a little mark there. That's where my midpoint is. So I'm going to make a dot. There's my midpoint. And remember, the midpoint divides the segment into two equal parts. So we're going to mark our congruency steps. So over here, I'm going to write the steps we took. First, we extended the compass. Over half the distance. Oops. Then from both endpoints, all right, so what I wrote is from both endpoints we made arcs above and below the lines. I hope you can read that. I'm still trying to work out how to write on this, but all right, so that is how we construct a midpoint or bisect a line. Now what you're going to notice is we're going to do the same construction for constructing the perpendicular bisector. So we're going to do the same steps except the perpendicular bisector is an actual line segment. And what it does is it cuts the line into two equal parts or divides it into two parts, and it also meets at a perpendicular, which is a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to follow the same steps. So I need to get my compass and my straight edge out. And see if you can pause the video and follow the same steps that we did from the previous one. All right, so I hope you looked back at what we did in the previous one and followed those same steps. I'm going to make an arc above and below my line. I'm going to go over to point B and make the same arc above and below. And notice that my two arcs intersect nicely. I'm going to take my straight edge now, line it up with the intersection, and this time we are going to draw a line segment because we're trying to find the perpendicular bisector. All right, so remember every time we construct something, we want to label what we know. My line's not quite perfect. Fix that. All right, so perpendicular bisector means it meets at a right angle and it divides the segment into two equal parts. So from A to the line, it's equal from the line to B. So I'm not going to write down the steps for this again. I'm just going to say same as before, except the only difference, draw a line instead of just the midpoint. All right, sorry if you can't read that. All right, so we've constructed a bisector, which is a midpoint, or bisect the segment. We've constructed a perpendicular bisector, and now we just want to construct a perpendicular from an external point. So given any point in line, they want you to be able to construct a perpendicular line. So I'm going to take my compass and my straight edge, and I'm going to measure from that point. I got to move this down. Hold on 1 second. All right, I got to measure from this point to my line. I need to make an arc. So you have to make sure that your compass is open wide enough, which you can see if I were to make an arc at this length, it wouldn't work. My compass is not open wide enough. So I need to open my compass more. Now I'm going to make that arc. And it needs to cross your line twice. Okay, if it doesn't, all you need to do is extend your line. All right, now it's important, do not change the width of the compass. Go to the intersection now with your segment and make another arc below and go to the other intersection and make, oh, I changed the width. Just click undo and make another arc right here. Notice that your two arcs intersect. Now what that means is from C, we constructed our first arc. So the distance to the line segment over here at the intersection and the line segment over here is the same from point C. And then I did the exact same distance from those 2 points below. So ultimately what I found is a perpendicular line. So now all I have left to do is to draw in my perpendicular line through point C. And again, we need to remember to label everything we make. So all I need to do is say that that's a 90-degree angle. Right, so next, here are my steps for this. Oops, a little above. 1, made an arc from point C. Okay, through our segment. 2nd, from the intersections, we made an arc. And 3rd, you should notice that those 2 arcs below our line intersect. We draw our line from point C through our intersecting arcs. Right. So those are the first 3 main constructions we have for this. Your homework will be number or page 51 and 52, numbers 8 through 13. So when you start looking through those, you're going to find that it starts with bisecting a segment, perpendicular bisectors, and it ends there with those 2 constructions. Tomorrow we're going to do the 5 more constructions that we need to finish. Hope this helps clarify. If you need anything, come see me.